This week, 48 Hours digs into a cold case that has baffled Florida investigators for more than 20 years. Correspondent Erin Moriarty and her team have spent months looking into the unsolved murder of 21-year-old Amy Gellert. Here's a preview of tomorrow night's report.
The Gellert case is one that's kind of haunted us for 20 years now. The biggest problem I think we have is really trying to figure out why it happened.
On the evening of March 20th, 1994, Bunny and Bob Layton returned from church to find a masked intruder in their Cocoa Beach, Florida home.
Basically, we had to crawl through here on our hands and knees, and he took us to this area right here. Something switched in him. He just lost it, and he starts stabbing me in my neck. And it's going in so deep, I can feel the bones crunching.
Miraculously, they both survived. But Bunny's 21-year-old daughter, Amy, who happened to come home during the attack, did not. Amy's brother, Ryan Gellert.
My first thought was I just couldn't believe it. It just didn't make sense.
It's hard to think about her, isn't it? For the family, it's all the more painful because this more than 20-year-old cold case has never been solved. But this team of investigators in the Brevard County Sheriff's Office is determined to catch the killer, or killers who got away.
I think it's solvable. It's going to take the right piece of evidence and the right person to be willing to talk about it.
What investigators do know is that the intruder was armed with unusual weapons. The gun was later identified as a prop weapon used in the theater and movies. The knife was actually a dagger that looked something like this, with an ornate hilt. And have you ever been able to find one that seemed to match?
Not with the hilt. Not with the hilt like that, no.
And investigators agree all the evidence points to a targeted attack.
The consensus tends to be that Amy's the catalyst. There's something there with Amy that probably caused this to happen.
Although the Laytons couldn't identify their masked assailant,
he was Caucasian. I think I picked that up on the contrast between the ski mask and his eyes.
Over the years, many suspects have surfaced.
Most cases, you may have one primary suspect, maybe a couple peripheral suspects, but in this one, there's many possibilities.
Bunny Layton has faith that after all these years, someone will come forward with evidence, and she will finally get justice for her daughter.
I think that people are holding on to information. They don't think it's significant, but it is. It means everything to us. Amy means everything to us.
Yeah, you still feel their pain after all these years. Erin Moriarty joins us at the table. 48 Hours has never done this before. Normally you guys are solving mysteries. This time you're asking for the public's help. How come?
And I'm a little nervous about it because there's a lot at stake here. This case was very unusual because you had investigators stumped because there were 3 victims, and I think for many years they weren't really sure who was the target. So you had this huge group of suspects. I think as you see this hour, we really I think the target now has been really kind of narrowed down to Amy, and we take a look at those suspects, and there's some good suspects.
Why are you doing it this way? I mean,
all right, because in 2008, we did a case where a young man had disappeared for 30 years, and the main suspect, they knew who it was, but they didn't have enough evidence, and it turns out he said something to a woman in a bar, and they solved the case. So there's probably someone out there with information.
I bet you'll get a lot of tips. Yeah.
I hope.
Yeah.
somebody that knows something they don't even know they know something that's important to the case.
Exactly.
Thank you, Erin. And you can see Erin's full report, Who Killed Amy Gellert, on 48 Hours Cold Case tomorrow night at 10, 9 Central. It airs right after a 48 Hours special on the murder conviction of the former Survivor producer we told you about earlier, Bruce Beresford Redmond. That's at 9, 8 Central tomorrow here on CBS.